100.9 app, WTUG HD2 Northport, and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app, a Town Square media station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to center and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you can pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and I run it back to the things biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. Have a great show lined up for you this morning. Want to encourage you .04. Love to hear from you on the Taco Casa hotline. Let's make that a part of your morning routine, or give us your thoughts, your comments. Chat us up on our social media outlets at Martin Houston 35, at Martin Houston 35, or Martin Houston Live. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, having a great day today on a Thursday. Just hanging in there this morning, getting started. How about yourself, Martin?
Doing well, man. I want to tell you it's great to see that Alabama had another good scrimmage, and we're going to get a little bit of Nick Saban's audio here in just a moment. So want to encourage everybody to stay there. In the meantime, we will not have recruiting news from Hank South this morning, but we will talk a little recruiting later on in the program. I want to talk about battles that's going on the football field. Is Paul Tyson making a move? Do we want Paul Tyson? How do you feel right now about Paul Tyson and whether or not he is making a move or even challenging Bryce Young? Do you feel comfortable that this job has been handed to Bryce Young without very little competition? How you feeling about that? Want to hear from you as we have that conversation this morning. Of course, you may have something else on your mind that you'd like to talk about. We'd love to hear it right here on the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. But to kick things off, we're going to hear from Coach Nick Saban, the greatest coach in the land, as he addressed the media yesterday. He had a interesting opening comment. You have to kind of read between the lines sometimes when Nick Saban is delivering a message to us for the players. So we'll get to that. Can you pot that up for me, Joe? Coach Nick Saban's opening comments, the greatest coach in the land, right here on the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama Sports Tide 100.9.
I am almost there, Martin.
Okay. He do what now?
Oh, it was not where I expected it to be.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll continue to move on. As I was saying, he talked a little bit about that. He also was questioned about Jalen Moody and what he brings to the table. Jalen Moody many of you may have forgotten, he was almost like an afterthought when you look at how he signed in terms of for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He wasn't a guy that was very highly sought after in terms of the linebacker position, but it shows you if you stick around, pay your dues, do what you're supposed to do, then you will see that opportunities can find their way into your home and into your lap. And that's what's happened with Jayla Moody as he is currently running the, not I say second, he's actually running not second, but he's running the starting position beside Christian Harris, who Nick Saban has indicated is the signal caller. So let's go ahead and get to Coach Saban as he addressed the media yesterday. Coach Nick Saban, the greatest coach in the land.
Make some team chemistry, looking for people who put team first. Guys that understand that, what you did last year really is not going to create any value for what you do this year or help you play better this year, but it's going to be based on what you do to create positive outcome for yourself this year by paying attention to detail, doing little things right, playing with discipline, holding each other accountable to the standard that they all know that we expect from them day in and day out, being positive, not being negative, set a good example for each other. And, they have great examples on this team of, some of the things that we had on last year's team, which was all about intangibles. It was all about leadership. It was all about holding people accountable. So I think that's part of the development that, we want to have, in spring practice as a team, as well as just running plays, improving, learning assignments, learning what to do, how to do it, why it's important to do it that way. And I do see improvement. The last two practices, I think you see a lot of young guys who were very apprehensive, unsure, uncertain about what they were supposed to do, so they didn't play fast in the last scrimmage. I see those guys starting to get a little more confidence, and I think they learned a lot from the first time in the stadium, first time in the scrimmage, first time, being in a live situation in college football for a lot of them. So you look for great improvement from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage. And, certainly that's going to be our goal for this one. One of the things that does cause a little bit of confusion this time in the spring is, it's almost like, we have double install. We're still putting some things in. The offensive putting more and more things in. We have to play against more and more things, both sides of the ball. But at the same time, we spend time working on opponents and things that we don't see, from our offense. So we're putting a plan in for that too. So it can be a little bit of a burden for especially some of the younger players. It's a lot for them to absorb, each and every practice. But at least we're getting exposure to it. So when we have to play against it next year, it's not going to be all new for them. So, we're looking forward to a much better scrimmage. We'll have kind of a Friday's practice will be, sort of polished, not put a lot of stuff in, try to get guys to understand what we're going to do so they can go out there and play fast and we can play with some and make some improvement as a team. Questions?
All right, that's Coach Nick Saban's opening comments from yesterday's press conference. A couple takeaways there, and we'll break those out. But we got a couple phone calls as well waiting. But two things that jumped out to me, two words that jumped out to me that I want to get to was leadership and experience, and the impact they're having on the spring or the challenges that they're presenting during spring. So that's leadership. Want to come back and talk about that. Want to talk about experience as well. And I also mentioned early on in the program, want to talk about this what Super Joe has to say. Super Joe, you and Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind?
I'm all good. Yeah, I just overheard about about Tyson Bryan. Like what he like something about what he do. What is he what he will do. But I don't say like this. One thing we all know about Coach Saban. Ever since he got here, he always been the best quarterback that starts. But now at the same time, I don't see us keeping all three of those quarterbacks out there. Very raw talent. And I know a lot of times he was. So maybe are they giving Bryce Young the position too quick? No, if he's taking the bull by the horns, then he's earning it. He's not. Coach Saban's not giving you anything. I mean, that's something I said. I'm saying before I was even born. Now, I mean, y'all should know that. I mean, because the way I see it like this. Okay, now who knows that play? But who's getting the offensive attention? Who's getting the offensive line's attention? Who's getting who's communicating with the wide receiver? Now that's what's gonna work. Because see, the thing about it is, when you cannot have quarterback, a quarterback position now, if you're not gonna hold leadership, because that means that coach got to trust you with that offense. He got to trust you to make the right decisions. All right, and then the wide receivers, they got to trust you that you're gonna make the right decision. Okay, they're gonna have the tight end gonna have to trust you. That's where it's based on. It's more than just knowing the play and throwing the ball. So, and like I said, it's all about what's rightfully earned, and that's all been coached. Now, how far is Paul Tyson behind Bryce Young? How would you rate their talent?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that Saban is giving him the job, and how big of a gap there is between Paul and Bryce. I can't answer that. The question I'm asking and going to address in the second segment, in the second quarter, is how does it make you feel that it appears that this job is Bryce not being pushed? Because you have to understand, it's been a while since there's been an heir apparent to win the job. I think whatever Bryce Young did from the time he stepped foot on campus last year through all of the summer practices that he was a part of and what he did during the season put him in a position he's in. So I don't think he's been given anything because that's just not Coach Saban's style. But Joe kind of alluded to it yesterday and made me start thinking about what's the real situation regarding Bryce Young and Tyson and all that. So Super Joe, I'm not sure exactly what the gap is, but I'm going to talk about why I think we may need to have a little bit of concern, not concerned about Bryce Young being the starter who earned the job, but there's something that always happens at Alabama. It's one word, and I'm not sure how much of that is making the quarterback position better at this moment. We're going to talk about that on the other side. You got anything else for us?
No, not at all. But I sure appreciate you taking my call. Take care, Marty Marr.
See you later. Thanks, Super Joe. Coming back on the other side, we're going to have a little conversation. Nick Saban talked about several things, but to me, two words kind of jumped out from his conversation. That is leadership. He sounds like a coach who potentially could have some concerns over leadership, or at least that's an emphasis of what he's trying to get done in terms of this football team, and experience, and the impact of experience on getting a football team ready and how it's impacted this team. We're going to talk about that. But coming back, we're also going to get into the quarterback conversation as well. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9, and we can do this each and every day thanks to the great folks over at Softmark Design. Softmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. They can help you with your promotional needs, your graphic needs, as well as any promotional items you may need from an apparel standpoint and or trinkets. Go to southmarkdesign.com and they'll be glad to assist you. Tell Scott Smith and the team we told you to give them a call. Once again, that's South Mark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show.
Cloudy, a chance on developing showers, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the low 62. Tomorrow, a few passing showers and strong storms, the high 79. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Time 9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott's Mark Design business for 17 plus years, graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or is at comcast.net and visit them online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Turn it up! Welcome back in. Overflow Express Wash. Go check them out. For the car wash that's going to make you feel good about driving around town looking good inside and out. That's Overflow Express Wash. OverflowExpressWash.com is the place you need to go. Check them out. Down on Skyland Boulevard, just past the Town Square Media Studio, and location coming real soon over in Northport. That's OverflowExpressWash.com. Andy Phillips and his team have done a great job building a great atmosphere and opportunity for you to get your car showroom clean. Go check them out, overflowexpresswash.com. All right, we're going to break there. I told you we're going to talk a little bit about what we heard from Nick Saban from a leadership standpoint, an experience standpoint, and the impact those two may be having on this spring and why they could be of concern for this team if no one fills those gaps. Also talk about the quarterback position and some thoughts there. Before we get into those conversations specifically, let's bring in Tom. Tom, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Good morning, Martin. How are you this morning?
Doing well, sir. And you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I see it a little bit different, but I've never been on a football team before, and we're lucky we have you that you have spent a lot of time in the agent atmosphere, so we can get guidance from you when we come up with these ideas. But to me, I think what's going on when you look at the makeup of this team, particularly on offense, is young in terms of experience and playing. Our quarterback is really young. I think we would all agree that nobody has any more talent than what is at Alabama. In other words, the potential to be productive is there because the ability is there. And I believe that we're seeing a different approach from the entire coaching staff. What little bit we get to see on practice video and then the conference from Coach Saban, I believe he's got an all-out blitz on building these players up, instilling confidence in them, and you're starting to hear the talent kind of in between the lines, but about building their confidence. And then the leadership thing is a building block of a successful team. You know that. You've said it many times. But I think the tactic is positive reinforcement is what they're using on this team.
Yeah, and you said that you feel a little different than I do. What do you think you feel differently about it than the way I'm?
Oh, I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. That
Okay.
was a misspeak because I really don't know how you think about it. I guess when you said that, you had some questions about the quarter competition, this, that, and other, that may have got me to thinking like that, but I don't really know what to think about it. But that's what I think is going on.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think you're correct in saying, and look at paper, there's no question that Nick Saban has the most talented team in the country based on paper. It overcame the one being class per se. Bad by Alabama standards, not bad from a talent standpoint when you compare it to the rest of the nation and how they fluctuate. And then you add to that, he's come back with a better class than that class and a better class and the greatest class ever. Is not an issue, Tom, at Alabama at all, and I would say not at any position. Okay, the question is that because early on when I was asking the questions, what's your biggest question or strengths, etc. The key is that we had people saying, "Hey, we have a lot of depth," and I said, "No, we don't have a lot of leadership. We don't have a lot of depth. We have a lot of talent, and the difference between depth and talent usually means experience." Okay. And so this team doesn't have a lot of experience, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And they are also going to be searching for leadership. And I do believe that Nick Saban has chosen the positive reinforcement model that you were referring to in terms of playing. And the beauty of that, we'll see is if it works for this particular team, Tom, in terms of him choosing to be positive. The reason I make the statement, and I'm going to get into that in more detail, the reason I make that statement about the quarterback position is I've always felt like Alabama was better than everybody else because there was true competition for you to keep your job. If you go back and look, Jalen didn't come in as a starter there was a true battle for the job, and Jalen came from behind to win the job. Then when Jalen was there, whether and Curtis Lewis saying Saban doesn't always start the best player, he rewards loyalty and good teammates. Example, Jalen over Tua when everyone knew Tua was better. And maybe Tua over Mac Jones when the team knew that Mac Jones. I'm just kidding. but my point behind
That is funny.
I couldn't resist, but
It was a good one.
Yeah, but to Curtis's point, he doesn't always reward necessarily the best player. But we always knew Jalen, even though Tua may have been better in virtually everyone's eyes, Jalen still had to keep practicing and playing and winning to keep Tua off the field. And Tua had to do the same thing with Mac Jones. And I feel like Mac Jones had to do the same thing with Bryce Young. I don't feel that right now that there's, even though there's competition, sure how much Tyson is really pushing Bryce Young right now. I think the battle, if any battle is going on the football field, it may be more for who's the second guy than it is who's the first guy. And
I agree 100% with that.
And will Bryce Young, is Paul Tyson good enough? And he may be. We just haven't seen him enough. We didn't see him in spring. We haven't seen him enough. Is Bryce Young to be better? I have heard he has some of the Mac Jones characteristics, which would be a positive, that he's really good in the classroom and all of that, and that if he fools around and gets an opportunity, he'll show that he's a really good player. But right now, that Bryce Young is clearly solidifying himself. So that's part of the concern that you hear me when I speak that.
I see the situation with Jalen and Tua, and what we're seeing now, not with the players, but with the coaching tactics, is something that was learned. Listen, Jalen Hurts was loved in the complex. I don't care what Ryan Fowler and his fans, but in the football complex, Jalen Hurts was loved by me and everybody else in the football complex. And I think to keep his confidence and keep him from crashing and burning was a masterful coaching job by Coach Saban.
I would agree with that. I would not have anything.
And I think he learned something and and I think we're seeing what he learned from that situation and how he's handling this young quarterback.
Yeah. But you also see that he talks about Bryce Young, but then he puts the statement behind it to make sure, because he also understands that he's one play from needing a backup quarterback. You know, for Nick Saban, I don't know if you know this, until Tua got hurt, Nick Saban didn't have a quarterback miss a start. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
Yeah, like from Wilson to McElroy to McCarron to Sims, all the way to Coker. They never missed a start. Jalen, and now he's had up until then. He had 2 years where he had a starter that he either had to replace or got injured. And so he realizes that's the real possibility. And so he makes statements like Bryce Young is doing really good. But, hey, Paul Tyson made tremendous progress. So you're right. He's building their confidence. He's working to keep them engaged. I just wonder, though, and that's wonderment is nothing has that. I guess a better way to ask the question is what I'm saying. Is it a good thing that Bryce Young secured this job so easily from everything we've heard? Or do we want to see Saturday? Do we want to see a scrimmage on Saturday, Tom, that coming out of the scrimmage, people going, whoo, Paul Tyson was lights out. And Bryce Young, maybe pushed a little bit? Or do we want to see another scrimmage where it's, wow, Bryce Young is exactly what we thought. He's so much better. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have another glowing report from Bryce Young, and not really anything from Paul Tyson? Or would you love to hear what Paul Tyson did and how he had a day against the ones? That's kind of what I'm asking, and I don't know yet. I'm just concerned that how far of a drop off will it be if Bryce Young is as good as advertised? How big of a drop will it be if he's not the starter?
Here's my prediction. Okay, you're going to go to the scrimmage Saturday. You're going to go out there, and my prediction is when you come out Monday, you come on the show, you're going to say, I see why Bryce Young is the starter. That's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. And my other prediction is, well, if we had to, we could win with Tyson. That's my prediction for you and your take on the scrimmage on Saturday. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. All right. Coming back on the other side, we'll continue the leadership, the experience, and the QB conversation. If you want to get in on it, the Taco Casa hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904, as well as you can put your thoughts and comments on our social media chat platforms, Martin Houston Live on Facebook, at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Go check out Taco Casa for lunch and or dinner. You can find them at one of their 6 locations locally in West Alabama, Tuscaloosa, and Northport, or you can visit them online at tacocasa.com. Place that order, go pick it up. That's Taco Casa. Quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town.
Hello, this is Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages and go up to $20. Also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. And his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Hey, it's me, your cousin from Boston. I'm on the radio doing ads for Sam Adams. Now I'll be known as the Sam Adams guy instead of the dude who fell in the quarry. Sam Adams Boston Lager is crisp and refreshing, which is why I bring a 6-pack wherever I go, except the movies anymore. Sam Adams from Boston with love. Here's the legal part. Watch how fast I can read. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Mass. Drink responsibly. Now, is that 30 seconds? Are we even close?
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa. Quality is one. You got to start with a good quality product, but it's got to be at a good value to the customers.
Everything's about quality. You just can't beat the quality, taste, and value.
And it's because we take pride in providing you with the best.
Good customer service and good food, good quality.
We want to make sure that we give that to them each and every time they come and visit us. The sense of we have in the quality, the consistency of our food carries over to everything we do in the stores.
At Northport Auto Supply, we understand there's nothing worse than a dead battery. So to keep this from happening, be sure you periodically check your battery, including the terminals for corrosion. And if you ever need help, then come by Northport Auto Supply and let our knowledgeable professionals check your battery for free. Northport Auto Supply has the area's largest inventory of batteries in stock, and we'll even install it for you at charge.
Northport Auto Supply. Why go anywhere else?
Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, Jordan Battle does a good job. He plays a lot of good football, but it's kind of up to him as to how he wants to accept the role of leadership, how assertive he wants to be. People have to earn the right to be leaders. You know, they have to do things right themselves. They can't be late for meetings. They can't, not do things exactly right. They have to set a good example for others, and they have to care enough about other people to help them for their benefit. So that's his choice. And that's a lot of players' choice on the team. Do they want to take that responsibility of being a leader? He has done that at times, and I think he would be very good if he chose to do it.
That's Coach Nick Saban responding to the Jordan Battle question that was presented, almost a presumptive question about Jordan Battle being a leader. And Joe, let me ask you, did you sense any frustration in Nick Saban's response to that question and responded?
Yeah, I think you can listen to his voice and kind of hear a little bit in his voice where he's kind of saying, well, he's got to help out people for the sake of helping them out, and do the things that a leader does, and has to earn the right to be a leader. Maybe there's been a little friction with Jordan Battle and with Coach Saban or with some of the coaching staff.
Yeah, when he gives specifics, when he's asking about a player, also see if you notice him tapping. One of his telltale signs is he taps the podium when he's a little frustrated. I think that's his control mechanism. And you heard the podium get tapped a little bit more during that than it may have been in other answers. And that's why I say I still think, Joe, based on his opening comments and how much he talked about leadership and how he talked about that's all last year's team was about examples and about how to do things the right way. Then he gets the question about Battle's leadership, and like I said, the question almost came as an assumptive question that Battle was a leader. Even says it's up to him if he'll accept that role. Just because you're the starter, just because you're the guy there doesn't make you a leader. And then he goes on to say he has to set the example, show up at meetings on time, and all that. So understands the power of leadership. Another word for leadership is influence. And when you have a young team, the last thing you want is the presumptive leadership guys through position and seniority being a guy not the hardest worker. How many times did you hear Nick Saban, Joe, talk about last year's team? And he said this in times past, but he said it to me last year probably as much as any. When it's always good when your best guys are your best leaders and your hardest working guys. And he was, of course, referring to guys like Jones and Najee Harris and Devontae Smith and Patrick Surtain. And I don't think he's sensing that yet with this team.
No, I don't think. I mean, it's still early, but not as confident and comfortable in the leadership as he was last year. Last year, man, he sounded comfortable the whole, very happy with it the whole way through. But yeah, you can tell that it's not quite at the level that he wants it to be yet.
Yeah, and of course in the DBs, you would say, well, someone has to step up, even though that's the most experienced someone's going to have to step up and fill that role in terms of making sure that leadership is happening in terms of Alabama football. So leadership. It is absolutely one of the things, and still from it was one of my biggest questions going into the spring and after Nick Saban's press conference on yesterday, and then his response to Jordan Battle, I still say leadership is the thing going. We're going to call it in. I'm sure Pat recruiting, so we'll take a side step to bring him in. Then we'll come back to some of this conversation. Curtis Lewis and Virgil Williams discussing quarterback play and whether the best guy was playing or whether Saban sometimes leads with loyalty. And we have a comment in a response to a question that may say he sometimes leads with loyalty over talent per se. We'll talk about that. But let's bring Pat. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, good morning, Martin. First, I've been hanging out there today. I'd like to talk a little bit about wanting to convince Walter Nolan's kin people up in Tennessee that they would look way better in crimson than that ugly pumpkin orange. And it's true how they'll look thinner. If they big folks, they'll look thinner in pumpkin orange. Do you not agree?
Well, I think anything looks better than pumpkin orange, but and just speaking, what you really need to tell if somebody's considering going to Tennessee over Alabama, and I have not verified this data, but C.J. Watson for some reason started to show off with 5,280 feet. That's the number of feet in a mile. That's a lot of feet. 5,283 days. That's even more days than there are feet in a mile. Many days it's been since Tennessee beat Alabama in football. So that's what you tell them if you're competing against Tennessee. You just tell them 5,283 and counting.
Yeah, that's right. But adding Walter Nolan to our defensive line with what he brought in this past year, be a big step toward moving further into the domination of the SEC and the rest of the nation. And then next thing is Curtis Perry. I was just Max Prep has Curtis Perry listed at 6'5". Hey, we've got to get the young man on campus. That's what I can visits to be able to happen and camps to be able to happen this summer, because so we can get actual true measurements on these kids. He listed at 6'5", about 270 pounds, and 24/7 Sports has him listed at 6'3", 267. Well, there's a lot of difference in 6'5", 267, but he has video numbers, Martin, as far as his tackles for loss and sacks is absolutely incredible when you read this young man's stats. And but he's a true football player. Trouble is, he's playing at a 6A level, and it appears at his high school down there that there's him and a bunch of bodies, a bunch of tackling dummies around him. But he doesn't really have a lot of help because they've only won 4 ball games this past year.
Park Crossing is pretty good. They're a fairly new school, but
that may be.
I mean, there's a lot of talent at that school in the skill position. How good they are in the line position. So I don't know to know, but know that piece of it. But I know that like in 7-on-7s, they're usually one of the ones walking away, or at least playing on championship day. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he may be one of the only Lucian. I got you.
Yeah. And that's very possible when you have new schools. It's a lot easier to get, and when I say new, it's not brand new, it's several years old, but it's in terms of length of time, it's not a very old school in terms of the Montgomery area. Pat, but to me, this thing that's still intriguing, and I still haven't heard anything. Maybe you have, but is JT? I mean, is Alabama still possibly going to add him to this class? So that guy, I mean,
everything that I've been reading on it, that he's going to visit. I just wished that he would have been able to visit this winter when it was snowing like all get out because that's just like, hey, if you realize when you go to Notre Dame, you got to fly on little shuttle planes and stuff to actually get into Notre Dame. You can't just drive to Notre Dame, hardly, and the same thing there at Ohio State. Hey, when it was 0-degree temperature up there, and when you come down here to Tuscaloosa, and them girls little short shorts in the houses, hey, it would have been a no-brainer where you go to school.
Pat, you know that these young men don't choose their football based on young ladies in short shorts or anything like that. It's all about the coach they'll be playing for.
It doesn't hurt. Hey, look, at Tennessee, they call them volunteers.
Yeah.
In Florida, they call them Gator Getters. In Alabama, we call them Bama Bells.
Yep. And
they
Crimson.
still exist, Sporting. Believe it or not.
All right. Yep.
Hey, have a blessed day, sir.
Have a good one. All right. Thanks, Pat. All right. Little recruiting talk there. Let's get back on that conversation we wanted to have. Coming back out of the break, we're going to hear about, does Nick Saban always play the best player, or does he have other factors that go into who gets the starting nod? We'll have some audio that we'll address coming back on the other side. And excuse me. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments right here on the Martin Houston Show. Thank you for being a part of the program. Roll Tide coming back on the other side. We'll have the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we got a problem on Lurleen northbound on the bridge. A lumber truck has lost its load. Major delays there on the bridge headed into Northport. Everything else looks good. If you see conditions, give us a call. 205-86-8886. Where are the deals? They're at Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Grab one today. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good morning. State Democrats are calling for Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill to resign in the wake of his belated admission of a lengthy, sordid extramarital affair. But while admitting to the affair, Merrill's written statement yesterday said he is fully committed to finishing his term as Secretary of State. Governor Ivey's Safer at Home, a statewide mask mandate, ends tomorrow. It'll be replaced by a Safer Apart order. She is strongly encouraging Alabamians to continue to wear a mask. I'm Don Hurtley, on Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous. They feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston to stop by the big discount, call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-16823 or visit them online To Custom Carving, LLC.
Have you been hanging on to a bunch of old paper in your home or office? Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, the Better Business Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama present Shred Day, Friday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Load your paper, bring it in boxes or a container, and we will shred it for free while you wait. Shred Day is limited to paper only, no electronics, and 2 containers. Shred Day, Friday, April 9th, conveniently located in the old McFarland Mall parking lot at 900 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
To remind pet owners that Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge, we decided to make a really cute pet-themed radio commercial. Can you hear that, puppy? If you could see this, you would melt. I mean, just the softest fur. He's trying to open this box now, and oh, the box is filled with kittens! If only there was some way you could see this! What a glaring oversight.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included in the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Have you been hanging on to a bunch of old paper in your home or office? Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, the Better Business Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama present Shred Day, Friday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Load your paper, bring it in boxes or a container, and we will shred it for free. You wait. Shred Day is limited to paper only, no electronics, and 2 containers. Shred Day, Friday, April 9th, conveniently located in the old McFarland Mall parking lot at 900 Skyland in Tuscaloosa from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, you know, Jalen Moody was a guy that we had on the radar screen that initially we didn't recruit, we liked. And we had a need at linebacker, and we really liked some of the things that he did, and we actually took him late. And, you know, a very positive guy on our team. He's been a core player on special teams. He's got a great attitude. He plays with a lot of energy. Now he has an opportunity to start, and he's certainly taken advantage of it. You know, he's done a really good job for us.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about Jalen Moody, a player, if you go back to those days where Alabama actually missed on a couple of linebackers in the recruiting process, and many people felt like settled when they got Jalen Moody, a 3-star recruit out of Tennessee, but now finds himself in a position of starting. And the reason I bring that up, Curtis Lewis said earlier in the program on chat, Saban doesn't always start the best player. He rewards loyal and good teammates. And he used example Tua versus Jalen. And, of course, you know, that was going to generate a little conversation in terms of the Tua versus Jalen conversation. Virgil Williams saying that he agreed and disagreed. Hurts was a polished passer. It wasn't as polished as a passer, but he could find ways to win, which in my opinion is a great quarterback quality. So I can't say Tua was any better of a quarterback, better passer, yes, but both were winners. And of course, Curtis says Virgil Williams' Tua was by far a better QB talent to leadership, from talent to leadership. I don't know if he was far better on the leadership side, far better on the talent side. Both of them were winners. He also had the confidence of the team, which Jalen didn't have. And maybe Jalen didn't have it by the end of the season. And that's where you bring in CJ's comments. Jalen gave Bama the best chance to win early in the season. The year Tua got here, even though Tua had more talent by the end of the season, that it changed. And Saban made the change at the right time. So Saban may not start the best player, but he will start the player that gives Bama the best chance to win. And Larry Miller getting in on that conversation. I agree to a point, but I don't think Bama loses that Auburn game if Tua is a starter. Fortunately, it all worked out for the good. This QB battle is different in many ways. This could be one of Saban's hardest coaching years with all the turnover on offense. It'll be fun to watch. And, you know, my whole point behind that, Joe, is Jayla Moody. Is Jayla Moody getting the start strictly because he's been here the longest, or is he the better player? Either way, he has shown improvement because he was not the better player 2 years ago when Shane Lee was a freshman, correct? And Shane Lee is still in the background waiting. That's an interesting study there. Will this young man, stick it out at Alabama after having started as a freshman and now going into his third year? He's still trying to get back on the field. Is there more talent in Jackson Bratton and DeMoy Kennedy and some of those guys? But Jalen Moody is clearly the starter at this point. So do you think that's real quick, Joe? Do you think that's about Lloyd? Do you think that's about the best player being on the field?
I think it's about the best player being on the field, but also one thing other than being the most player is the player that Coach Saban can trust in their role the most. So going back to the Jalen Tua thing, Coach Saban trusted Jalen's decision making over Tua's because Tua will put the ball in some risky places. So I think on top of the talent issue, it's about trust as well. And so who can the coaching staff trust? A guy like Jayla Moody has shown that he can do that course of the last 3 years.
Yeah, and exactly. Jayla Moody has shown. And that brings it to that experience conversation that we're going to kick over till tomorrow. And we'll also be breaking down some scrimmage talk on tomorrow as well. But experience, or is it just the fact that they're loyal and that they have been a good teammate? Or do all of those qualities going into the one word that you just heard Joe use, that they can be trusted? And is that why Jalen Moody's the starter over the other guys who apparently have more talent? We'll talk about that tomorrow, as well as we'll look at some position battles and what you want to see. And I'm asking you tomorrow to bring your bold predictions to the show on tomorrow as we predict what's going to happen in Alabama scrimmage. That's Joe Gaither. Thanks to all the callers, all the chatters, and all of you who have been a part of the program this morning. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. I'm Martin Houston. The Martin Houston Show, the sound of catch you on.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.
You too.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.